Imagine a world where a simple cut could be a death sentence, where surgery, though necessary, often led to agonizing infection and a slow, painful demise. This was the stark reality for centuries of human history. Yet, nestled within the annals of the past lies a startling paradox. Certain medieval surgeons, long before germ theory, understood the fundamental importance of cleanliness in preventing disease. How could such vital knowledge be discovered, embraced, and then tragically forgotten for hundreds of years? Tonight, we unravel this gripping mystery, exploring the triumphs and failures of early medicine, a tale of brilliance, ignorance, and the devastating cost of lost wisdom. For most of the medieval period, surgery was a last resort, a barbaric necessity. Without anesthesia, patients endured agonizing procedures, often tied down or intoxicated. The operating table was rarely sanitized, instruments were reused without cleaning, and surgeons, more often than not, operated with bare, unwashed hands. The air hung thick with the stench of blood and fear. Post-operative infection, known then as fever or mortification, was rampant, claiming countless lives, yet for a brief, shining era, some practitioners held a glimmer of understanding that could have changed everything. Long before medieval times, civilizations hinted at the importance of hygiene. Ancient Egyptians embalmed their dead with resins and spices, acting as early antiseptics. Greeks like Hippocrates advocated for clean water and bandaging. Romans built vast aqueducts and public baths, understanding the practical benefits of cleanliness, even if the underlying science remained unknown. These were often pragmatic observations rather than a theoretical understanding of microbial contamination. The concept of unseen bad air or miasma dominated, yet the path to surgical hygiene began with these early, practical steps. As Europe entered its dark ages, the Islamic world experienced a golden age of science and medicine. Physicians like Al-Razi, Rhazes, and Avicenna meticulously documented procedures and advocated for sanitation. Hospitals in Baghdad and Cairo were centers of learning, featuring separate wards, ventilation, and even basic sterilization practices. Instruments were often boiled or passed through flame. Wounds were cleaned with wine or vinegar, potent antiseptics. This wasn't merely practical. It was a deliberate, observational understanding that clean environments reduced post-operative complications. Knowledge from the Islamic world slowly filtered into Europe, notably through the School of Salernum in southern Italy, a beacon of medical learning in the early medieval period. Here, surgeons like Roger Fergardi, active in the 12th century, published influential texts that echoed some of the Eastern practices. They advised washing wounds with wine, which acted as an antiseptic, and even heating surgical instruments. While not fully grasping germ theory, these practitioners empirically observed that such measures improved patient outcomes, saving lives in an otherwise brutal surgical landscape. Despite these flashes of brilliance, a critical misunderstanding began to cloud medical practice. The appearance of pus in a wound became erroneously regarded as a sign of laudable pus bonum et laudabile, a necessary stage of healing. Physicians believed pus was the body expelling harmful humors, an essential part of recovery. This belief shifted focus away from preventing infection, instead accepting it as an inevitable, even desirable, part of the process. This fatal misconception slowly eroded the early empirical understanding of preventative hygiene. The arrival of the Black Death in the mid-14th century delivered a catastrophic blow to medical progress. The sheer scale of death and suffering overwhelmed existing medical infrastructure and knowledge. Faced with a pandemic of unprecedented virulence, the focus shifted from meticulous hygiene to desperate containment and spiritual remedies. The plague decimated populations, including many skilled physicians and surgeons, leading to a profound loss of institutional memory and the erosion of sophisticated practices developed centuries earlier. The urgency of survival eclipsed the subtle art of preventative care. Post-plague Europe saw a widening divide between learned physicians who focused on theory and internal medicine, and the less esteemed barber surgeons who performed manual procedures like bloodletting, tooth extractions, and amputations. Often lacking formal medical education, barber surgeons inherited few of the hygienic practices from their more learned predecessors. Their tools were crude, often shared, and rarely cleaned. Surgery became a trade, detached from scholarly inquiry, and the emphasis on practical cleanliness, once understood, faded into the background amidst the general lack of scientific understanding. The invention of the printing press in the 15th century, while revolutionary, paradoxically cemented some medical errors. Texts promoting the laudable pus theory and humoral imbalances were widely disseminated, eclipsing the rarer, more nuanced understanding of hygiene. Without rigorous scientific method to discern truth from fallacy, old superstitions and mistaken beliefs gained wider acceptance. The ability to mass-produce books meant that flawed medical theories could spread faster and become more entrenched than ever before, stifling genuine progress and delaying the rediscovery of vital knowledge. The Renaissance brought renewed interest in human anatomy, spearheaded by figures like Andreas Vesalius. Dissections became common, revealing the intricate workings of a human body. Yet, despite these profound anatomical insights, the crucial link between microscopic cleanliness and disease prevention remained largely unobserved. Surgeons could expertly navigate the body's internal landscape, but they continued to operate with unwashed hands and instruments, their elaborate dissections ironically conducted in environments teeming with unseen dangers. The macro was understood. The micro remained a deadly mystery. For centuries, from the late Middle Ages through the Enlightenment, surgical hygiene largely stagnated. Mortality rates from post-operative infections remained appallingly high, a silent testament to the forgotten knowledge. It wasn't until the 19th century, with figures like Ignaz Semmelweis and Joseph Lister, that the link between cleanliness and disease was scientifically proven and universally adopted. The tragedy of lost knowledge underscores a profound lesson. Progress is fragile, and vital wisdom, once discovered, must be diligently preserved against the tides of ignorance and forgetfulness. The journey through medieval medical history reveals a profound human story, one of fleeting brilliance, devastating loss, and the slow, arduous path to rediscovery. Medieval surgeons, particularly those influenced by Islamic scholarship and the School of Salernum, glimpsed a truth about hygiene that could have spared millions. Yet, through plague, professional schism, and scientific misunderstanding, this vital insight slipped away. It took centuries of suffering before the simple act of washing hands and sterilizing instruments became standard practice. Their story is a stark reminder. Knowledge is not simply discovered. It must be cherished, understood, and passed down, lest humanity be condemned to repeat its most painful lessons.